Welcome back, everybody. In a brutally honest interview with The Guardian, Jamie Lee Curtis condemns Hollywood's obsession with plastic surgery. So she says it has led to an entire generation. She says it has led to an entire generation of women, quote, disfiguring themselves. Is this a little harsh, or does she have a point?
You know, the language itself I found harsh. She talks about disfiguring. She also mentioned the word genocide, which at this specific moment in time felt like the wrong choice to make.
Yes, yes.
But where I do align with her is in this idea of changing the baseline and changing what is normal and perceived as normal. And I was thinking about this the other day because I was on camera at work and I went to pick up my 3-year-old son, and you guys know kids, they're so honest.
Brutally.
And he goes to me, Mom, why do you look so different when you're on TV? And I'm not someone who leans that hard into glam. I love it. Our glam team's amazing, and it's an armor that I need for my confidence. But my looks don't keep me up at night. And I said to him, well, it's my costume. Because that really is how I see it. It's my costume for work. But I just started thinking, my kid now, when he watches almost any screen, particularly with the advent of AI, is only seeing a normal that includes women who, at bare minimum, are getting needles in their face. And this is not a holier-than-thou comment. I've participated in Botox, so I'm not speaking ill of other people. But I think that's a problem.
I'm gonna tell you something here. I get what you're saying. I have had plastic surgery. I've had needles on my face. I love every single one that I have put in my face. That's for me. I'm not saying that that's for everybody. Since the beginning of time, women have been doing things to our bodies to conform to another ideal. Back in the day, it used to be cinching your waist to 19 inches. It was Cleopatra who was putting on makeup. Like, we have been doing this since the beginning of time. And I think for Jamie Lee Curtis, she's so rich in saying this. She has had plastic surgery.
Oh. And she said she regretted.
Okay, oh, she did it and now she regrets it. Okay.
Hold on. Just because we've always been doing it, does that make it right?
No, what I'm saying is there's nothing different. She's making it sound like we've never, ever in the history of humanity as women done anything to change ourselves. We've always been doing this. I'm not saying that's right, or I'm not saying that's wrong. Okay. But the idea that she's saying, oh, we're disfiguring ourselves, then you're only noticing bad plastic surgery. Women have been doing this for a really long time. You only notice the bad work. A lot of people are doing it, and you'd never know. So the idea of disfigurement, don't shame people for making a choice. That might give them a little confidence to help them get through their day.
Can we pump the brakes and go backwards for a second? Because we talked about Jamie Lee Curtis like saying things in very harsh language, right? And I love this expression, where there's drama, there's trauma, okay, everyone? And she, in fact, to go back to her plastic surgery story, she did admit to getting liposuction and eye procedure that she said got her addicted to opioids. So I think part of her passion around this topic is because of her personal history. She's worried for women. It's not just about aesthetics, but also about maybe that it's a slippery slope down. Because we've all known those people. I feel like I've seen people who stop seeing themselves. There isn't an aspect to plastic surgery that can be addictive and can also be dysphoric. We know this, that you don't see yourself properly.
Okay, I really feel like, Jamie, if you're watching the show, shh, okay? Be quiet, because women get to decide how they want to age. It's not your choice to police other people's bodies and decisions. And Mel, I mean, 100% agree with you. Let women choose for themselves. We've had enough of the patriarchy and men telling us what to do. Don't join in, don't chime in. If you want the needles, if you want the laser, if you want the Botox, if you want the bump, if you want the wax lips, do your thing. If you want to age as
But isn't it entirely our own choice anyway? I guess it's a question of, I'm going to be honest too, because I'm not devoid of the impact. I've noticed myself that if occasionally I found myself clicking, actually after the Jenners started talking more and more about their plastic surgery, somehow in my algorithm there was plastic surgeons in New York and whatever. And some of the before and afters I was like, wow. And then you start to look at yourself and you start to notice, and it starts to seep in a way that is kind of insidious and infectious. And I'm not saying I'm judging other women for it. I do think there is still this question of who can access those services. There are many people who will never be able to afford those types of things, and the way in which it seeps into our mainstream, where I see women all the time who are like in their 30s who actually ironically look like they're in their 50s, but because they've had too much. No, but it's like that we've just started to sort of like accept that there's a kind of through line that everyone has to have a certain type of work. And I think it is destroying a certain amount of, I feel like, our own collective confidence and our own diversity and our own, we think that it's a choice, but I'm not so sure it always is anymore.
Listen, I get that, but as someone who has had I've had my breast augmentation twice. I'm a very big fan of Botox and of fillers, although I've eased off on the fillers. if and when the day comes that I want to do things to my face, I'm never going to hesitate. But that's my choice. It is my choice.
But it impacts other people, Mel.
How
And
does
I
it
say this
impact-
with love.
What do you mean?
Because I think that the more, like, I know, for example, I have different friend groups. When I'm in my TV circles, I think more about the way I look than I do when I'm with my friends from university. Like, I actually don't wear makeup. You're the same way.
Exact same. Yep.
It totally is depending. So there is something that we do influence. And I'm not saying it's all bad or all good, but we do have a role of just, yes, accepting. But I also feel like we have to be careful about endorsing. That's it.
And also, I think there is power in laying bare the work you've had done. I had a really interesting conversation with a woman who works as an injector, and she said, "You wouldn't believe the number of my clients who pay for their work in cash because they don't want their partners to know."
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's interesting.
Right? So I think there is a secret layer to this that if we're going to own it, let's own it. But I don't know the last time we saw many women who have aged without work on screens. And I still go back to that being a problem, because then if you are aging without work done, you feel like the anomaly.
Okay, I get what everybody is saying here. Here's the thing, I don't know how my personal choice is going to change those kinds of views. What I know is that I see women on TV, and I think women, whether you've chosen to do work or not, I just think women are beautiful, and that is absolutely your
How
choice.
you decide to
How
age.
you
How
decide
you
to
decide
age.
to age.
But what I will
But
say...
we're always saying on this show about, like, when we do this all the time. Again, I'm guilty. I'm calling myself out when we see someone like a Jane Fonda or whatever. We're like, she's in her 80s and she looks amazing.
Yes.
Well, she's had a
Yes.
lot of work done.
Yes.
So where does that
But
leave
I also
another
think that
80-year-old
Helen
who hasn't-
Mirren looks amazing, and I also
She's
think
had
that
work
Dame
done.
Judy Jen.
They've
Jess,
all,
you know what I mean?
they're
Lindsay Lohan looks
unreachable.
really good right now. Just Google her. Just say, she looks really good. I'd pay for that.
It's
I just think
challenging.
I'm here for agency. I think we're all saying
Just,
that.
and I know we don't have a lot of time left, but AI has entered the chat as well in all series.
Yes.
Yes.
And I don't know if you heard this controversy around there was a guest model who was in Vogue who was completely AI.
Yes.
To go back to our original conversation around Sydney Sweeney too, she is the prototypical, like specifically, like, this is what she
Blonde
looks like.
bombshell.
So this is what
She's
young
not
girls.
real. This is fully fake.
Fully fake, but this is what
Fully
young
fake.
girls are looking at and not necessarily knowing. So I guess I do worry for the next generation too. It's one thing when you're 60 years old and you're deciding to do tweaks. If you're 12 years old and you're seeing this as an ideal, at what point are you starting out of the gate with all your insecurities and deciding to do augmentation in order to look like an unachievable goal? That's all.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Fair. Well, Perdita, clearly it was so lovely to have you here today. We love you.
Always. Thank you. Always good.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.